Hello and welcome to another episode of the TF Cast.
This week with us, we have returning Jeni Kolstad, the Executive Director of Southern Minnesota Pride, or is it Mankato Pride?
It's Mankato Pride Fest. It's South Central Minnesota Pride is the organization. Yes.
Mankato Pride Fest, South Central Minnesota Pride. Get it right.
Yeah, it's okay. It's complicated.
Second year in the position, and we're just going to talk about what's going on out there. Tell us a little bit about the event. It's a little bit different than last year, right?
Yeah. So last year, we couldn't hold a festival. So, I mean, we couldn't obtain permits. So we basically did what we could without permits, which was, what people saw last year, that march and rally that we had outside the Intergovernmental Center. And so this year we can go back to our large festival. And so this is going to look very similar to previous year's festivals. If people have attended, we will have our parade down RiverFront Drive, I should say. So it starts down over at the library and then marches down RiverFront Drive. So, feel free to go get a spot and visit some of those businesses because they all are allowing us to go down RiverFront Drive. They had to give us permission. So, frequent their businesses. There's a couple of really great supportive LGBT businesses down there. And that goes right into the park where the festival begins. So then, at the festival, we've got a lot of drag cool. all day. So it'll be really fun. We've had some bands in the past, and this year we just decided to do drag. It's kind of like the biggest attraction that people just love. So basically from the time you get in to the time you leave, there's going to be drag performances going on.
Oh, cool. And this is in the plaza, like behind the Hilton, or? Actually,
this is at RiverFront Park.
Oh,
yes, really? Yes. So we will be in RiverFront Park, Vetterstone Amphitheater. So we have that whole stage and great sound setup and everything. So our performers will have, the big stage to perform on.
That's awesome. And it's gonna be like set up with seating and all that in the.
There won't be any specific seating. It'll just be, what is there for the Vetterstone Amphitheater. Mm-hmm. Feel free to bring, your own chairs, blankets, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I've actually always wondered how that works there because I'm always confused whether or not there's going to be a chair.
Yeah, no, there will not be chairs. So if you do want one, definitely bring your own.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then you'll have some food vendors and stuff like that there
so
too.
we worked really hard to try and get some diverse food vendors. So we've got Wow Zone, which is going to be doing your kind of classic American, like hamburgers, hot dogs, and then they'll also be doing our liquor. So there will be beer, mixed drinks that you can get. And then we've got Elticazo, which has authentic Mexican food. We've got Wooden Spoon, and we've got why can't I think of it? The guy that does like all the pork and
the brisket
and the mac and cheese and like why can't I think of the name? TNT Eats.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, TNT Eats will be there. We've got Sugar Inc. Bakery and Zip Zap Ice Cream. I don't want to miss anyone. I think that's it.
Is Elticazo a food truck or is it
just... it's a food truck.
I'm just always excited by new Mexican options.
Yeah.
It's from around here. Are they coming from?
Yeah, they've been at our Pride Fest actually for many, many, many years. They're kind of one of our standards that come. And so we were really careful this year too, to just make sure that, whoever was providing the food, like you're providing your authentic food, like we don't want, like the whatever place to do, like say Wow Zone to do nachos because we've got authentic Mexican food, right? Mm-hmm. So we were really careful to kind of talk with our food vendors to make sure we were, just providing good cultural food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. The Vetterstone's an awesome spot for that too. It's just cool area.
Yeah. And it's just kind of interesting because we started off our Pride Fest back in Sibley Park, like back by the softball fields, like itty bitty, like small stage. Like we got like the North Mankato, like little wheelie stage in there and, had like 10 exhibitors and it was more of like a potluck instead of food vendors. So it's just insane to see like the growth. Like when you walk into RiverFront Park and you're like, whoa, like look at all the rainbows and look at all the exhibitors and all the people. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they do a different theme every year. Yeah. Or
yeah. Yep. Every year we do a different theme. Mm-hmm. So this year our theme is We Are the Radical Resistance. And that theme is, bringing us back to what pride really is, the roots of pride. So, you know, most people know this story, but I'll share it for folks that maybe aren't aware. You know, back in 1969, the Stonewall riots were what started Pride. And at that time, it was riots against police brutality. And a woman, Marsha P. Johnson, a Black trans woman, is known to have thrown the first brick, right? Mm-hmm. And there's different versions of the story, but that's the story that most people know, is that she was the one to throw the first brick and kind of start this this riot in the streets for LGBT rights. And so at that time, police were frequently raiding LGBT bars and places that they would hang out and, you know, arrest, assault, steal from them. So in 1969, these riots started, and every year after that, there was like kind of a big march in the streets. At some point, it grew more into kind of like the parade and like festival that people think of it now. Mm-hmm. And so what we wanted to do this year is, you know, pay homage to that like history that, yes, this is a safe event. You know, we rarely have protesters. We've never had any issues with anyone, you know, being hurt or any violence or anything like that. But we want to remember, that that's not how it's always been. And there are still a lot of people that live in fear and won't come to a Pride festival because of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, I mean, it really, those things are all very, very near. Like I was in the Army when they repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yeah.
And it was like, people were like freaking out. They're like, oh my God, everything's going to be so different. And then like the next day, just nothing was different. It was like, oh, okay.
Here we are. We're just doing our thing, right? Yeah.
But in those some of those original Stonewall cases, was it that their existence was just criminalized, or were they going after the institutions?
I mean, the existence was criminalized. Like, I mean, you could not be a trans person. You could definitely not be a Black trans person. Like that was highly criminalized at that time. And interestingly, even within the LGBT community, there has been separation, discrimination, and oppression of different folks. If you watch the movie, The Life and Death of Marsha P. Johnson, they go on to kind of talk about how the next year she tried to like get on stage to kind of talk with folks about, you know, this revolution and, you know, marching in the streets, and she was booed off. Even though she was initially the one that really started this whole movement. And so I think, you know, we have to remember that, you know, the work doesn't stop. Like we have to keep working to include and accept people.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that the Mankato's taking that approach to it, and that people have intersectionality on their minds when they're planning these events. It's pretty cool to hear that.
Yeah.
And apart from that, this is going to be your last year of doing the planning yourself.
Yes, it is.
Do you just want to give us like a little kind of like retrospective of what your experience was like?
Yeah, sure. So, full announcement to come, but I guess this is kind of that announcement. I am resigning as executive director after this Pride Fest. I've started my own private practice doing therapy. And so I really just want to focus on that and see that grow, because I think it'll be a huge resource for the LGBTQ community as well. And so I started helping out. Like, I mean, it's been over 10 years. I mean, I met my wife at a Pride festival. We've been together 16 years. If she watches this, I'm sorry. I always forget. I don't know. Something like that. And it was shortly after that, you know, within a couple of years that I started participating in the planning. And there was a year here and there that I took off, but over 10 years of being part of the organization and helping with the planning. And I've just been able to watch it grow from, this event in Sibley Park to, when I first started, there wasn't a parade, right? And so the first year we got our parade down RiverFront Drive, no less. It was just like tears, right? Because that's just huge for this community. And so, I'm just kind of getting shivers now because it's just it's just been so awesome to watch it grow. And I fully believe that, the committee and the board will be able to carry on. I think we're in a really good place. It was challenging because the previous executive director, Jessica Flatical, passed away a couple of years ago. And so, I feel like we got through that transition. We got through this last year and a half of a pandemic. I think we're in a good spot where, right now, I think the board is just going to kind of, convene after the festival and figure out, where to go with that. But I have full faith that they're going to be able to pull through and keep this thing going.
Yeah.
Who can we shout out as people who've had big impacts in the overall direction of Mankato Pride over the years? Can you...
Oh, sure. Well, Jessica Flatical obviously is a big name in that. Some of the founding people, Maria Bavacqua, I think of like Lori Andrews. She doesn't live here anymore, but she was someone that was a big part of getting this started. I'm trying to think, like a lot of the people are like not even involved anymore. They've all moved on to other places. Most recently, we've got Charlie Johnston. He's on our board. Beth Burrows is on our board. I'm drawing a blank. You asked me a surprise question.
That was a lot of people too. And I'm sure that they've had big impacts like that.
Yeah.
Eight people over the last while.
Yeah. And the crew that got this whole thing be a nonprofit and all of that. They've all kind of moved on. And so, thanks to all those folks that worked really hard because that was a lot of work.
What do you hope that you're able to leave the future prides with from your time here with it? Yeah.
What I really worked hard on in the last couple of years is, trying to get past barriers that, and I don't know if barriers is the right word, but try to create an organization that is as anti-racist as I could get it to this point. I really feel strongly about making sure that that's the path that it continues on. And I'm hoping that, the work that I put in laid a good foundation for that.
Yeah, that seems like an important legacy to leave.
Well, and I just want people that feel like they haven't been included in the past to be included. And so, there was part of me that's like, oh, I feel like I should stay and continue on this work. I just can't right now though. So I'm hoping that, some of those little nuggets and kernels grow into something more.
Yeah. It's a huge response. Like any of these event planning things are just enormous responsibilities. Every time we talk to someone, you realize how much work that goes in behind the scenes. It's got to be just like you really glazed over this thing right in the beginning. It's like, oh, we had to get permission from all these businesses on RiverFront, and my head just kind of spun. I know. Thinking about all the businesses down RiverFront.
We have someone that goes door to door to each one. And so we have to give them a letter saying we want to close the street on this day and put up no parking signs. So they have to be okay with people not having access to parking on that day. But then we offer them a rainbow flag. So we're thankful that all those folks, if you drive down RiverFront Parks, I always say drive. Get in my brain. If you drive down RiverFront Drive, you'll see some people keep them up throughout the year, but then as this week starts to progress, all of those windows will have rainbow flags. That's really cool.
No, they are the best. Actually, we have one up in the window at the wine cafe on the side.
Yes.
And sometimes people come in, they'll be like, is this a gay bar? And like, the answer has to be like an enthusiastic yes every time, because if they're wondering, they're either uncomfortable or trying to be more comfortable.
Right.
And if they're uncomfortable, then they can just leave.
You can go to somewhere else.
And if they're trying to be more comfortable, then
yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So, so we kind of give that as like our offering. Like, thank you for letting us take your parking for the day.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, why don't we do plugs for the event, get people to show up, and
Yeah. Okay. So I talked about the parade. I talked about the festival. Night before, so on September 10th, we are having kurioki, which is taking place at the Loose Moose. If you have not attended that, it is a blast. So we've got Kato Karaoke that is doing the karaoke for us. We call it kurioki because why not? And, it's just a really just fun way to kick off the weekend.
I have to interject. The thing that I was supposed to remember, the dedications.
Yes, thank you, because I probably would have forgotten. So every year we do a dedication, and we didn't last year just because the whole event was just completely different. But we've had different businesses, we've had different individuals, people that have just made a difference in the community in Mankato specifically. And this year we did something a little different. We asked for just community nominations, just someone that you think has contributed to the LGBT community in some way, shape, or form. And we're gonna recognize all of them instead of just picking like one special person, right? So we're going to dedicate the festival to all those that are doing the work within the community. Yeah. So I don't even know
awesome.
who all of those are, because that's somebody else's task, right? So I divvy up tasks. I'm like, you just take care of that. So I'll even be surprised the day of. But so that's kind of cool. We also had, I just thought of this, we have a couple scholarship winners. So we were able to provide 2 $500 scholarships to a couple students. So they will be there also just kind of being recognized for, their kind of passion of, working in the LGBTQ community, living in it, that sort of thing. So we'll be doing that as well. We'll have lots of exhibitors there. So, anything from, like, I don't know, some business service that you might need to maybe you're trying to find a congregation to be a part of, or you just want to shop. There'll be all sorts of things that you can peruse while you're there. Dana from the 410 Project will be doing an art activity under the pavilion. So that's a great thing for kiddos and anybody else. Anyone else can also join in. And then Sabrina will be doing some yoga in the Grassy area at 2 p.m. So that she'll kind of walk people through, a short yoga session and then just talk about some health and wellness items. So that will be another kind of fun thing to participate in. And then in the evening, we just have a big dance party. So down at Rounders, we've got kind of the side room, and we can take over the whole bar. Their DJ's just gonna, put some tunes out and dance or just hang out, just an after party.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the weekend. We also, though, on Sunday, and I don't want to forget this, is we have a youth event. So we have out at Wow Zone in the afternoon. I believe it's from 2 to 4 or 3 to 5. We might want to check on the details on that. But in the afternoon, it's all on our website. Youth can come down to the Wow Zone. There'll be free bowling, free pizza, and free DJ. So that has always been really fun in the past. There's been a large group of youth that have attended, so junior high and high school age.
It sounds like an excellent weekend.
I know. I'm already ready for it to be done, but I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody.
Yeah. It's a lot to prepare for, certainly.
It definitely is. And Nola Bell is also doing a drag brunch in the morning on Sunday. Yes.
Non-stop.
So we did not plan that. They decided to do that. And a portion of the ticket sales are going to South Central Minnesota Pride. So that's kind of cool. But there's 3 sessions of drag brunch. So go get your tickets because, they're limited. So, but it'll be like totally awesome.
That's special. Cool. Well, where can people go to find some of that information if they didn't remember it all?
Yeah, because I clearly didn't remember it all either. South Central, our website is scmnpride.org. So scmnpride.org. And then on our Facebook page, South Central Minnesota Pride on Facebook, we have an event that has like the rundown of every event that's going on. So you'll be able to get all the details on there.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining us on the podcast again. It's good to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was a great time, and we always appreciate you having you here.
Yeah, thanks.
We know that Pride doesn't stop when the festival's over too. So
right.
We hope people continue to support and do all that, especially through the next leg and generation of what Pride becomes once you've...
Yeah.
And we'll be there.
We'll be there.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
be there.
So
Oh, yeah.
we'll say hi.
Good.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.